Unmuted? Are we doing that?
Yep, everyone's unmuted and it sounds cool.
It sounds good.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Okay. I mean, I say we give this. Are there people in the waiting room? Or are we all good?
No one's in the waiting room. I think everyone's cool. Everyone's in.
All right. Should we
Yeah.
do? I mean, shit. If someone has a topic, should we go one by one, or how do you guys want to do this?
How do you think dentists feel that they clean your teeth and then you immediately cover it up with a mask?
Ooh, that's good. That's dark. I like that because dentist is already like the most like suicidal job. It's such a weird job that you want to kill yourself, you know, because you're a doctor, but they're still miserable. You know, I think the highest suicide rate is like dentists in upstate New York or something. Because you're like, I'm close to a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. I'm close to New York City, but I'm not in New York City. I'm just close to everything. So I think that's the problem. I was trying to do a bit on like Epstein calling the suicide hotline. That was a bit I wanted to do. I wanted like Jeffrey Epstein to be like, hey, like, you know, when he was like his last phone call, they're like, you have one phone call, and he's like, all right. He calls the suicide hotline, and he's like, hey, I'm depressed, and they're just like, all right, what's wrong? He's like, well, I'm into child sex trafficking, and they're like, all right, we got to go, but thank you for calling. Not all lives are worth saving. I was thinking about, have you been following the Ghislaine Maxwell thing? His because every news network calls her a socialite. They're like, socialite Ghislaine Maxwell. Like, you should probably stop calling her a socialite, because she's probably not getting invited to good parties anymore. It's like, it's the same reason we don't call Bernie Madoff a financier anymore. He's not handling money at this point. But I was reading about Ghislaine Maxwell, and I didn't know her dad drowned himself, which is, how fucked up is it that your dad, he just like stole money from one of his companies, which I don't even, by the way, is that even stealing? I don't think that's stealing, but he did something shady. He drowned himself. He was found at like the bottom of a lake or something. And it's fucked up that she could have a darker end. You know what I mean? Because they're like, she has a tape of Prince Andrew. You know what I mean? I don't know how I turned into this rabbit hole, but you got me on the suicide thing, so my mind jumped to her. But you know what's cracks me up about Ghislaine Maxwell is like, cause like her and Epstein, and you see all these pictures now of like these people at like there's so many pedophiles at galas. I had no idea. We're like, every picture, she's just like sneaking in the pictures where you're like. You know, whenever I'm at a wedding in the future and someone's like, get in the picture, I want to like turn everyone and be like, do any of you have a sex trafficking ring? One of them, just in case. I just want to make sure you don't.
We don't know what the galas were for, though.
That's true. Maybe it was a NAMBLA conference. Maybe we didn't know. Maybe it was a bad gala.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. They're weird parties. I don't know, like, and they said something like Bill Clinton was on Jeffrey Epstein's plane at like 20-something times. And at some point, you're like, man, that must have, he must have seen something. Best case scenario, he was like, she looks a little young. That's the best case scenario for Bill Clinton. That's if he's the best human being possible.
The whole time.
Oh man, I don't know. Maybe I heard she's like, they're like trying to see if she'll cut a deal, which maybe we bring back that Howie Mandel show, Deal or No Deal, but do you want the 25 years or what's in this suitcase right here? We'll take the suitcase. It was 27 years in the suitcase, so it's a sad ending. I don't know, man. All right.
I'm curious if you've got anything dating in your 20s compared to in your 30s.
Dating in my 20s compared to my 30s. That's interesting. I think it's definitely gotten lazier. In your 20s, you'll stay out all night. I'll be like, I'll do anything to close this deal, and now I'm like, I'll give it 20 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, if she's also, and when you're young, I mean, also I'm in a relationship now, but when I was like when I was really young, you're like, she can be a fucking, she could be a skinhead. I'll fucking tough it out, you know? I've been with girls where they've said shit that I'm like, I disagree with what they say, and you know, now I'm like, oh, you know, before this, I'd be on a date and I'd be like, I can't fucking. Wow, that was a fucking. What was that sound? Was that a dead frog? What the fuck happened? Is that just what happens when I bomb a premise now? Someone's like, a dentist in this chat killed himself. That's what happened. Yeah, dating. Are you Kira, are you dating? Is that why you're asking?
Yeah, it's not fun as a single mom. And I was like, oh, how did you get Taylor jealous?
That is, especially during quarantine, single mom. Because now if you go out, it's gotta be worth it.
Yeah.
You can't go on a date and leave a kid and risk giving him COVID. I know it's harder to get the kids, but still, you know, the date's got to be worthwhile. Have you been on any bad dates lately?
Yeah, I've been catfished a couple times, and then last guy had some really funky breath from across the table. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I gotta go home.
Although I feel like getting catfish is worse than bad breath. Right? I'd rather be like, ugh, than shit. I came all the way to Syracuse and you're a fucking dude. This sucks. Way worse.
Unplanned stay in Los Angeles. What are you finding that you like about it? What do you wish that you want to get back to an urban environment? What's the difference between the two that you're seeing?
You know what's
and how is that
tough?
going to affect your future choices?
It's tough. Being a New Yorker in Los Angeles is tough because I feel like my New York friends are treating me like a draft dodger right now. New Yorkers they're really just like, oh, you left for the fucking pandemic? I'm like, well, it's not like it's good in California. It's not like I dodged Nam. You know what I mean? It's rough everywhere. That's it's tough. New Yorkers they're very like, you didn't stick around for the bad stuff. But I miss walking everywhere. I miss basketball hoops. I miss I mean, I'm staying here with Taylor, so you know we go shopping together, and like I feel like the first time we went shopping, like think about the first time you went shopping after COVID you're like, oh, this feels like we're robbing a bank. We're putting on masks, we're putting on gloves. You turn to your partner, you're like, make it quick. You know, it's fucking stressful. It really does feel like a bank robbery. And so I like LA grocery stores. In New York, I feel like LA, every grocery store is nice. Even the rundown ones are nice. Yeah. In New York, every grocery store is like, it can be like a Whole Foods. You're like, is that a dead rat? What the fuck?
Like how maybe sometimes racism could be a benefit for minorities. For example, racist child molesters.
Racist child molesters. Maybe how is that a benefit?
If it's a racist child molester, he won't go for a minority child.
Whoa. What if you're white? Think of the white kids, Andre.
That's what I said, a benefit for minorities.
I'd say, hey, all lives matter.
Okay.
All lives deserve to get molested equally.
You're right.
Well, not at all. Anything else?
I was thinking, what do you think would happen if everyone in the world's internet history was made public?
Oh, fuck. You know what happened if everyone's internet history made public? Because, you know, in Australia, they were trying to do like some sort of face scanning.
Okay.
Do you know that? Where you're like, oh my God, that's all we need, right? Like, this will not end well, any of this. You know what I mean? Like, how often before they use internet search history in court? Right? They're like, of course this man robbed an old lady. He looks at GILF porn.
I don't really know if it's a prompt, but I cut my own hair after watching
oh my God.
a YouTube video because I'm still not sure if I want to go into it as well on yet, but
it looks good. You did a good job.
Thanks. I tried really hard, but it's one of those things that it still just doesn't come out right.
You know what, Taylor, my girlfriend Taylor cut my hair, and it was weird because I had like a big Jew fro, and she cut my hair, and she goes, "Wow, you look like a different person." And then she started kissing me, and I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. A little upsetting. So what do you got for me, Jason?
So two things. So one, what do you think of Goodell for the NFL kind of backpedaling now on the Colin Kaepernick thing, and now he's totally done a 180, and now he's kind of going with mainstream thought that now he should be recognized a little bit more, but just overnight, no transition, just like flip the switch, and he's the most hated guy in sports as it is. So I don't know. I'm just curious your take on that.
Well, that's a great question because Goodell only sees money and his relationships with the owners, and that's really, it's kind of interesting because there are people now who are like down with Kaepernick. Kaepernick, like he's gotten this Disney deal now, and he got that Nike deal, but he didn't know he was going to get this shit. I still think it was brave as hell what he did because he gave up everything. Like he ended up getting money, but he didn't know he was going to. So, I think it's pretty brave. I also don't get the people who are like Colin Kaepernick. Like they should just do the protests in the locker room before the game because it's like, that's not how protests work. You don't do them in private. You don't fucking. We all remember Martin Luther King's great "I Have a Dream" speech in his bathroom mirror. That's where he really nailed that one.
I went to a Black Lives Matter protest a couple weeks ago.
How was it?
It was good. There was a torrential downpour, so we were protesting in the rain. But I think it was really powerful. I've experienced some racism myself, so I really support the cause.
All right, that's cool. I went to a Black Lives Matter protest in downtown LA, and I went to two. I went to one in the suburbs and one in the one in the city. And in the suburbs, it's a very different vibe. It was like outside a Cheesecake Factory, and someone came out like, "What the fuck? We're trying to eat." And also, I've noticed that at every protest I've saw, there's always a white guy who climbs a tree. Like that's their thing. I don't even think they know a protest is going on. They're like, I just want to be around nature, And also, I noticed that, like people will say, like, man, well, like white guys, they didn't go to this many protests in the '60s, and I want to ask those people, like, did you look up though? Might have been in one of the trees.
Oh, God.
Any other prompts? Anyone? Just scream it out.
Cancel culture?
Cancel
Comedy.
culture. Okay, I'll do comedy. I thought that's what I was doing, but I could be wrong. Cancel culture. I mean, shit, man. I don't like it. I don't like the idea of canceling a person, but because it's always reactive. It's always emotional. Like you'd never. It's not real. Like there'd never be a real jury like that. That's like you get the people that go for real juries are people that don't want to go. You know what I mean? That's who punishes at a real jury. They're like, I didn't want to be here, so I should be here. But the people that are trying to cancel people on Twitter, like they live for it. So that's it's not even really a joke. It's just like an observation. Like if you are really excited about canceling a person, you should not be allowed to cancel. It should be taken away. What about Jimmy Kimmel? I don't know. I think canceling is not a good idea. Like when they brought up the guy today for the Eagles, I was like, don't. I hope they don't just punish him too badly. I hope they're like, just don't say that. I don't think just erasing people is the way. Like if you just like kick this guy out of the NFL for saying horrible shit about Jews, he's not gonna change his views on Jews. So I don't like it. And it's always, I don't know. It's always these people that are always like the town criers for the cancel culture. They always seems like they have dirt in their life. Like it's like the Republican senator who's like gays shouldn't be allowed to get married. And then he's like, they found him bent over in a rest area, and you're like, wait a second. It's always the same shit, right? Where you're like, this might be about you. But anything else, guys?
Any chance you'll be in a Joker sequel?
The Joker 2 should just be me. It should be Joaquin just walking into a club and just watching my set, and that's my next special, directed by Todd Phillips. The Joker's just like, this guy's fucking good. That's the whole movie. Him reacting to my jokes. Anything else, guys?
Any bright sides to social distancing that you find, and the lockdowns? You benefiting from this in any way?
I wanted to do a joke about how my biological father was into social distancing before it was cool. You know? Even now, even before the pandemic, he would just see me and just walk across the street, and I'd be like, "This guy, he was ahead of his time." I
Really
think.
loves you.
Guy, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate it, and I will do this again. So thanks for coming through, and I might post clips of this on YouTube or something. But thanks again, guys.
Oh,
Thank
great.
you.
Thanks.
Stay safe.
Thanks.